And while Re- want to welcome you this morning to our very special briefing of the Access to Information National High School Essay Competition 2012-2013. We have a very
Holmes, chairperson of our Access to Information Advisory Stakeholders Committee, members of the Access to Information Association, including our former prize winners, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. As the director of the Access to Information Unit, it is indeed with pleasure and some amount of pride that I stand here today with our partners, the Access to Information Advisory Stakeholders Committee, and with our portfolio minister, to launch the 4th annual Access to Information National High School Essay Competition. This year, we invited our 3rd to 6th forms, high school students to write on the topic, the Access to Information Act 2002 encourages and facilitates an informed public and public participation in governmental affairs. Discuss. The aim of the Access to Information National High School Essay Competition is to encourage our young people to think critically about the Access to Information Act and the rights it provides to members of the public and its practical impact in researching the topic that we have put forward. It is also intended that our students will gain a deeper appreciation for the potential uses and benefits of the Act to them as students, as well as members of the public engaged in their communities. Last year's competition was arguably our most successful staging to date, and we are particularly impressed with the range of entries from schools across the island, both rural and urban, traditional and non-traditional. These included entries from Immaculate Conception High School, Cornwall College, Papine High School, Old Harbour High School, Rossies High School, Manchester High School, and Hampton High School, for example. We have our most recent winner who is here with us today, Ms. Kerry-Ann Main. Also of note is last year's competition, we also had increased prizes and we had a special award for the teacher who assisted the most students, and that went to a teacher from Cornwall College. We continue to feel happy and gratified that our past winners have gone on to be very successful in their academic endeavors. The 2 most previous winners, they're in the Faculty of Law currently, and other prize winners are also engaged in university studies and doing quite well. The competition allows our students to exercise their research and analytical skills, demonstrate their ability to express their ideas creatively and fluently. This year, we're going to be encouraging our principals even more than last year to help our students to participate in the competition and to support that participation through the help of their teachers and the administration. Amidst our Jamaica's 50 celebrations, it is hoped that the competition will continue to stimulate our future leaders to think about their role in the governance process by knowing and using their rights, particularly their right to information that improves transparency, accountability, and fosters increased public participation in the decision-making process of their country. As we were just discussing, there are some challenging things that we've noted that are impacting upon our young people today in our society. We hope that competitions like this will focus on the positive things and help them to understand their role in making a difference in their society going forward, and to focus on how they can make a difference to the challenges that we face overall together as a community. So thank you again for being here and being with us to launch our essay competition this year.
always my pleasure to participate in activities associated with the essay competition, access to information. But a little bit first, the stakeholders group is a group of civil society that come together, have terms of reference that were agreed by a Minister of Information many moons ago. And we sit and we dialogue and work with both Asia and the ATI unit and the ministry to see how we can improve and work the Access to Information Act. And we are committed to it because for us it serves as a paradigm, a pattern for how Jamaica could be governed, could work together going forward for the next 50 years. It has always been a partnership, and partnerships don't mean that there is never any divergence of views or any different agendas. Partnership means that we bring our best thoughts, our best abilities together to a process, work together to find common ground and consensus as a way of moving an issue that we feel importantly, strongly about, as a way of moving it forward. And it has always been a partnership of civil society, government officers, such as those who are charged with the responsibility of giving you the information when you ask for it, the Access to Information Unit, which has had the responsibility for making sure that the implementation goes well, but always with the minister, the policy level. When there has been strong leadership at that level, movement forward has taken place. And I want to say, Minister Faulkner, we appreciate your leadership at this level. It spanned the time before you were minister, when you were on the parliamentary committee. But the leadership and the partnership is a paradigm, a pattern, a template for how Jamaica could best move forward on a number of different issues. And so it's really a great pleasure to be here on our 50th year, looking at the next 50 years going forward, and inviting young people to know more, to learn more, and to teach us more by their essay remarks, by the work that they do around this issue, as to how the next 50 years for Jamaica might look if we seize our role as citizens, if we seize the opportunities that are there, such as offered by the Access to Information Act, and if we build partnerships together. I hope we have twice as many entrants this year, and I look forward to a really successful competition. Thank you.
See you all out this morning and to see the bright faces. Maybe that's the one good spot in my morning after the terrible news last night. The Honorable Dr. Carolyn Gomes, who is the chairperson of the Access to Information Advisory Stakeholders Committee. And I am happy to say that we have worked very well together, and I hope that over the next several years we will continue to work well together to ensure that our people have as much access to information as possible so that they can make good decisions. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I welcome the opportunity to participate in today's launch of the 2012-2013 Access to Information National Essay Competition, which is now in its 4th year. Let me begin by commending both the Access to Information Unit and the Access to Information Advisory Stakeholders Committee for partnering and making this competition possible. I congratulate both entities for the initiative and especially their focus on the young people. They are our future, and they are also among the most vulnerable and impressionable groups in our society. This National High School's essay competition and Right to Know Week activities not only represent 2 important areas of strong collaboration between both agencies, but as we have seen from the level of interest shown, the essay competition has become another highly anticipated fixture on our national calendar. I wish you every success as you continue this meaningful initiative. Ladies and gentlemen, there must be very few persons in our society who still feel compelled to debate the importance of transparency, accountability, and their impact on greater public participation in governance and national decision-making. Information and access to that information, as we all know, play a crucial role in this process. The reality is, few things, if any, take place behind closed doors these days. The public's right to know and access to information are fundamental pillars of our democracy. Our society best operates on the principle, commitment, and practice of an increasingly open, more accountable, and responsive governance model. And we all know that when there is transparency, it's less likely that corruption can flourish. And those who are corrupt among us will be found and they'll be outed. For us, the Access to Information Act, which was passed in 2002, is a key part of the principle of open government and conducting public affairs with openness, transparency, accountability, and increased levels of public participation. This government wholeheartedly embraces such principles. This is evidenced by the increasing use which the public makes of the facility. In the years since the passage of the Access to Information Act, there has been increasing usage by members of the public and civil society, and we must encourage them to use the facility more. They are not only interested in holding government accountable, but they want to ensure that taxpayers are getting value for their money. In the last 5 years, for example, the total number of applications received for access to information increased by over 180%. In 2006, 449 applications were received, while last year, 1,260 applications were received. Almost 60% of the 1,260 applications for request were granted, and less than 1% were denied. The public's right to know and having access to information can only serve to strengthen our democracy, promote transparency, accountability, and increase participation in governance and the national decision-making process. Indeed, access to information will enhance the capacity of the people to exercise all of their rights. I urge all high schools throughout the country and our teachers to encourage and support students in the 3rd to 6th form to participate in this essay competition. I am sure the exercise will not only build the competitive spirit, but sharpen your analytical and critical thinking skills as well. I'm not going to be long this morning, but I cannot conclude my comments today as a woman and as a well-thinking Jamaican without expressing my outrage and utter condemnation of the rape of 5 women and girls in Irwin in St. James on Monday night. An 8-year-old girl was among the victims who were brutally raped by these monsters. I am calling on the Commissioner of Police to deploy the resources necessary to bring the guilty ones to justice as quickly as possible. These kinds of attacks, especially on our children, are attacks against all of us, and the entire Jamaica must stand up and ensure that the police get the cooperation necessary as they investigate this barbaric and evil act. And we have to stand up as one from all walks of life to ensure that these acts do not continue in our country. No decent, well-thinking society can condone this kind of evil on our women and children especially. And finally, to the students who are going to participate in the competition, I encourage you to do your research, become more engaged in the affairs of your country, and know your rights. The Access to Information Act is there to facilitate an informed public, but it can only do so if it is used by the public. Our young people, properly informed, can help to chart a new course for our country, and I encourage you to properly use the right to information that you possess. I wish you all the very best. Good luck to all of you, and I look forward to reading some of the winning entries in this competition. I thank you and have a very good day. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Thank you, Dr. Gomes.
Of the Access to Information competition, and I am here to speak with you briefly about my experience entering this competition and the benefits I gained from it. Earlier this year, when I was in my last year of high school, I made a decision to try something new. I had always had an interest in entering an It was by accident that I stumbled upon a flyer promoting this competition online. I was immediately intrigued. I did not know much about this Access to Information Act, and I had a desire to learn about it, especially due to my desire to enter the field of law. Thus, with 2 weeks remaining and the support of my family and friends, I began the process of gathering information and structuring my essay. In the process, I have met new people, broadened my knowledge base, and I have learned to take a different approach to the issues of national concern. I am even more appreciative of this piece of legislation because I have seen what it has done for our country now in comparison to the period prior to its implementation, and also how much it can potentially do if it is properly utilized by members of the public. I therefore have to laud the ATI unit and other stakeholders for their efforts in trying to promote such an act which is beneficial in our democracy, where everyone has the right to know and should be informed in order to be able to ensure transparency and accountability in our government, essential for a developing nation. With all this said, I therefore encourage young people to get involved. Inform yourselves, because as future leaders of today's society, we have the responsibility to ensure the fundamental principles on which our democracy stands are upheld. Thank you.
In encouraging our young people to participate in the 2012-2013 competition, I want to also repeat the minister's chart, the students in their work. This is very important effort, and the guidance, as Karian has indicated here, from friends and family, and of course the teachers, very important to your efforts. We have heard from our main speakers. We are going to open the floor for some questions from the media, and we are heading towards our closing time. We are taking some questions from...
September 20th annually is celebrated as Right to Know Day across the world, internationally. During this week, September 24th to 28th, we have a number of activities that the Access to Information Unit, in partnership with our partners, have been engaged in. This is one in terms of the launch of the essay competition, but for example, during this week, we'll be having a number of media appearances, which we had some on radio on Monday. We had a display with the law school, Norman Manley Law School, on Tuesday. The launch today. We have open days tomorrow on Thursday at a number of government ministries where persons can come into ministries, get information, find out what access to information is all about, the process, and get information that they need. On Friday, there's going to be a message from the minister in both newspapers, the Observer and the Gleaner, as well as an insert that will be placed with information, a brochure that will give members of the public in all parishes information, access to information, all you need to know, how to get information, how to make a request on the process, your rights, and your rights of appeal. All aspects of the access to information regime will be explained in that easily read brochure insert. So those are the activities that we have for Right to Know Day. But Right to Know Week is about celebrating the public's right to know, that right to have access to government information, to empower your lives, your community, to find out how your money is being spent by government, to find out how public servants that you have selected or that have been chosen to represent you in whatever capacity, from public servants like myself as Director of Access to Information to the Minister, how we're conducting your business, because it's about your information, it's about your business, and it's about the public knowing how things are being done in their name.
I think it's important, Damien, to me. To show that I'm taller than when I have on my high heels. No, I was saying that it is also important for the public to appreciate that they are our bosses. And so because they are our bosses, they are entitled to know how their money is being spent and how we are performing. Because when you have employees, if they don't do the work to suit you, you can fire them, and the public has that right. And the public has to understand what their power is.
And I concur. I would also say to members of the public, you can look out to see Dr. Gomes and myself on CVM television in the morning, where we're going to be discussing more about Right to Know Day and the rights that members of the public have in Jamaica as well as globally, because this is an international right that's celebrated across a number of countries, and we can use the law here in Jamaica as well as laws elsewhere.
1% that has been granted, but let's hear from Damien. Which must be responded to.
The law provides, let me deal with the time frames as first. The law provides 30 days in which your request should be processed. So that's a set time frame. There is a further 30 days that the ministry can ask for, a public authority. That's all government entities can ask for, because they're having certain difficulties, but they have to explain that and give you a valid reason. For example, a challenge might be that you've requested information covering, let's say, a decade. They might need more time to collect that information. In terms of sanctions, there are sanctions in the law for public servants who are administering the act, or any person who tries to deny access to any information, any document that the public has a right to access to. So if there are reasons under the law that for which a public authority can say you can't get information based on national security, for example, as an exempt section, but the law protects any what you call arbitrary reason for not giving you. So for example, a public authority can't say you can't get information because you come from Kingston, right? That's not a valid reason under the law. And there are sanctions for any kind of response like that. And there are criminal sanctions. You're talking about $500,000 fine and a term of imprisonment as well. All right. All right. There are built-in appeal processes within the legislation. So there is first an internal appeal to the head of the public authority, the ministry, for example, which would be a permanent secretary. After that appeal process, there's another appeal process, which is an independent appeal tribunal appointed by the Governor General, 5 members. And that appeal tribunal can take any decision that the public authority takes. And I should point out here that the burden is always on the public entity to justify why the public shouldn't get information. The public doesn't have to come to the tribunal and prove why they should get information. It's the public entity that has to justify why you don't get information.
Dr. Gomes wants to make an input here.
Yes, just wearing my hat at this point in time, Jamaicans for Justice is part of the access to information. We have actually had funding from an international agency to build a special database. So we monitor requests that are brought to us independently from the government monitoring. So if persons are requesting information and unhappy with the process that they're getting, we are available. We will take there and help them through the processes of the law all the way up to the tribunal and beyond if need be. So
31st of January. That's the deadline date for entries to be submitted. Okay, at this time, we're going to bring this part of our proceedings to a close. I want to invite to move the vote of thanks the chairperson for the Access to Information Association of Administrators, Ms. Helen Rumble.
Senator, the Honorable, my gosh, Sandria Faulkner, my apologies, Dr. Carolyn Gomes, Mr. Damian Cox, Mr. Lincoln Robinson, ladies and gentlemen, it's really a pleasure you're participating with us here today again. Although you're small in numbers, I know what we're doing is very significant, and the fact that you're here shows that it means something to you too. We have come to the end of our short launching ceremony for the essay competition. And I must say, for the few years that we have been having this competition, we are seeing a growing trend in terms of participation and the quality of work, which has been mentioned earlier. And I'm really pleased with our students that have been entering this competition, because it augurs well for our future, because we are passing out eventually, myself too. And when I look at these young people who are embracing access to information, and they spend the time to research and to write very eloquently on this topic, you know, it tells us that we will grow from strength to strength, and where in terms of our democracy and transparency, it is alive and well. Minister Faulkner, I just want to say thanks for your presence here today, just to enhance our launch, and for your support. I know we can depend on you because you have been a constant presence where access to information has been concerned. I can remember seeing you in Parliament. So this is something that you have embraced wholeheartedly, and and we can always depend on you for your support, and we'll be coming to you quite frequently for that. Dr. Carolyn Gomes, of course, your promise of partnership, I mean, that is just lip service, because you have always been there for us. We can always depend on you. And most of the activities that we have had, you have been a familiar face with us. So thanks for participating, and of course, we will be there, even if not us, but your entity and ours for the next 50 years. Ms. Carrie-Ann Main, first let me say congratulations. I was not at the awards ceremony, but I am happy. I read some of the scripts, and of course, undoubtedly, yours, you know, came out on top. And I thank, we just say congratulations to you, and thank you for coming here to share your reflections. I would love for you to continue to share those reflections, you know, because we don't have a big audience here, but your peers, you can promote access to information to them. And as a law student, you'll find that it's going to be very important as part of your work. For the past winners who are present here today, thanks for entering, and thanks for coming. And if you're still in school, please remember to promote this next competition to your fellow classmates. To Mr. Robinson, thanks for your participation, for being such an able chairman for the function. Mr. Damian Cox, we did say thanks to you, but our director of ATI unit, and ATI unit directs everything that happens in government where access to information is concerned. And the ministries and departments and agencies, we rely heavily on you, and you have not disappointed us in terms of your support for access to information. To the fellow members of the Access to Information Association of Administrators, and those are the persons in all the MDAs who represent access to information. Thanks for coming. And I just want to take this, this time to promote our activities tomorrow. Remember, we are promoting the Right to Know Day, the International Right to Know Day, and we're asking that you have open day in your entities. and to invite the public to come in and you can explain what it's all about and to encourage them to make requests. Thanks to the members of the press for turning up for this launch, and for the Access to Information Unit, as usual, for doing such a wonderful job at planning and executing this function. We look forward to the future activities that we will have, and for the other other activities that we'll be having this week. I'm sure that they will be ably executed as this one has been. And just say thank you all for being here, and we will be meeting each other before the end of the week. Thank you.